like this. Now if this is your first time coming into Photoshop, probably you're not going to see all of this here. It's going to be empty, and all that you are going to have on your left side is the create new and then the open. So the create new is used to create a new project, a new Photoshop file, whereas the open is used to open a new an already created or edited Photoshop file. So now if I want to create a new one, I click on create new, and when I click on create new, I have this dialog box that shows or appears here. I have the recent sizes I've used, the saved ones, I've not saved anything yet, the sizes for photos that you've been printing, the print, we have letter, we have A4 sheet size over here too, we have art and illustration like designing icons and stuff, we have designing for web, designing for mobile interfaces, and film and video for presentation. So all these sizes have been stored for you that you can choose from. You can choose and use them to edit your design. You can use to create your design. But for today's design, I'm going to add an illustration, and I'm going to use the 1000 pixel grid, which is 1000 by 1000 pixel. When I click on it, I get the details here, but when I double click on it, it just opens up for me, and that's very simple to know. Now when you look at my screen, the far right here, we have the learn panel, we have the libraries. Now with the learn panel, I can right click and then close. So I right click on the name learn, and then this drop down list, I click on close. And then for the same thing for the libraries, right click on the name libraries and then click on close. Now you get much space if you are using laptop. If you are using laptop, when you do that, you get much space to work with. Now we can start with, from when you come into Photoshop, the first thing you are going to learn here is the menu bar, which is the list of buttons at the top here. The file, edit, image, layer, type, select. These are the menu bar. That's the menu bar. Now with the menu bar, everything here, every button has a list of actions we can take. So when I click on file, it has a list of actions I can take. I can open a new file, I can open an already edited file, I can edit, I can, when you have image, we have other actions that we have here. So that is the menu bar. Now on your far left, we have your tools panel. Your tools panel has your tools you are going to use, and the ones you are going to use most often is the move tool to move stuff on, to move a design element, the move tool, which is the first tool on the tools panel. The shortcut key is V. And we have the shapes tool. So over here it is ellipse tool. When I right click, I can choose rectangle, I can choose rounded rectangle, I can choose from ellipse tool, I can choose polygon tool, line tool, and custom shape tool. Now another one here that we are going to use most often is type, the type tool, so which is the letter T. So on the tools panel, you see this letter T, and you click on it. That is what we use to add type to our design. So when I right click on the shape and I choose rectangle, I can draw a rectangle like this. Now if I want to move this rectangle, I go to the first tool, which is the move tool, and I move. You see I'm able to move. Yes. And then if I want to add a type, I just click on this type, the T here, click anywhere I want to put the type, and then start typing. So this is type. Great. So I have that. I have this here. So this is most of the things we are going to use here. So now if I want to delete, I can click on the element I want to delete. After clicking on it, I'll hit delete on my keyboard. So when I click on the type, I hit delete on my keyboard. If you want to undo an action, Ctrl Z to undo an action. Now another thing we have to learn over here is that when you come to your far right, we have these panels: color, where you can choose colors. You have swatches, which saves the recent use swatches, and then the recent use swatches. So you see that we just use black, so the recent one over here is black. Now we have properties. The properties is this: it displays the properties of the element you've selected on your design. So if I select the rectangle, it is going to tell me the width, the height, the color, the stroke. Let me take you through that. So now the stroke here, when it says stroke, it's just a line that we draw around the shape. So for example, for this shape, I can right click on the stroke here, that is beside the color, and then pick a color like red. Now beside the stroke, you can see 1 pixel. Like, let's make it 20 so that you can see. So yes, this is a stroke. You see that it has this outline, it adds this outline to the square or the rectangle you've drawn here. So that is what we call stroke. So we can take it off by clicking on the color here, the stroke color, and then you see this red slashing this white stuff here, white rectangle here. Click on it, means no stroke. The same thing for the color, if you want no color too. Now in the properties, we have a lot of properties about this rectangle. Now below that too, we have layers. So with the layers, it's just that Photoshop saves a list of all the elements you add to your design. So if I add a new text, it adds that text to the list. If I add a new rectangle, it adds that rectangle to the list. That is what Photoshop does and calls it layers. So now if I should pick my rectangle too and then draw another rectangle, realize that Photoshop has created another list of rectangle, another name called rectangle. So each of these, we call them layer. So the type here, we call it type layer, and the rectangle layers, just the way you want to call it, but just that it's called layer. You get me? So that is it. So we are going to start with today's. So we are starting with today's work. That is the church flyer. So I can delete everything by selecting all. I can select all by click on this and then hold shift and click on the rest. After selecting all, I can hit delete on my keyboard to delete all of them. Now getting started. Now to get started, we are going to deal with our background first. Okay, we are going to deal with the background first. With the background, we are going to add a solid black layer, a color to this white. We want the background to be black. So when it comes to your layers panel, below the layers panel, you are going to see this half filled circle. Click on this half filled circle and then a drop list comes. So this half filled circle, click on it, and then this list comes. The first one is solid color. Click on that. You get black. If you don't get black, don't worry, you can choose black from this place. You can choose any color you want. You can choose black, but know that color black, the hash code for color black is 000000. Click OK. Now we can add our image. Okay, we can add our image at the top here. So this is how we are going to do it. Open your file explorer and drag your image on top of your design. So this is the image you are using, and then you say OK. But we cannot use the image just like that. So what you are going to do is you are going to learn something new called opacity. So opacity is all about whether you are going to make your image or subject or element transparent or not. So the opacity here default is 100%. If I set it to 0, it becomes totally transparent. We cannot see it. So if I set it back to 100%, we can see it. Now I want it to remain in between, so I can choose to put it about 50%. You get it. If I want to reduce it the more, I can choose to reduce it to maybe 20%. That's it. Now if I want to change my image to black and white, let me set it to 100% again, and let's do this. I want to take this to black and white. I don't want colors. I don't want colors of this image, so I want to take it to black and white. So if I want to take it to black and white, I go to my menu bar. You will see image, click on the image, and then you see adjustment from the list. When you hover over the adjustment, another list drops, and then you move slowly, and then you just move through. You see black and white, so click on the black and white, and then you get your black and white. So you see this dialog box that appears, click OK. So we have this black and white. Now I can set my opacity to 30% by just clicking on the number 3 on my keyboard. So it's set to 30%. So that is it. But then you realize that the edge of this image is very sharp at the bottom here. I want it to fade in. So what we are going to do here is we are going to create a new layer mask. So this new layer mask is going to help us clean a part of this image. So the layer mask is situated at the bottom of the layers. So at the bottom of the layers, you are going to see this small icon. It's a rectangle with a circle within it. A rectangle with a circle within it. Click on it, and then you get this white square beside the image on the list of elements Photoshop is keeping for you. So this particular image is going to have this square. Good. So now when we get this square, we are going to pick our brush. So we pick our brush, and then with our brush selected, we can come to the top here. You see over at the top here, and then choose the brush you want. Now you can right click on the canvas, just right click, and then you can adjust the size of your brush. So when I increase it, it becomes bigger. Look at it. Now if I decrease, it becomes smaller. So you can increase the size over here to this, or something around 700, and then make sure the hardness is set to 0. This is very important at this stage. Set the hardness to 0 and click enter. So now what we can do is we come to the tools panel. At the bottom of the tools panel, you see these two colors, white and black. If it's not white and black, you see a very small white and black squares overlapping. Click on that. When you click on that, you see beside that small white and black rectangles overlapping, there is this icon that is showing two directional arrow. So click on that. It will change it and bring the black to the top and then the white to the back. So now you come back to your image with that particular white square selected. You click on it, not twice, once, and then you come here. You just drag at the part you want to clean. Just drag. I just want to clean the bottom, so you see that I'm dragging at the bottom, so it cleans the bottom for me. So this is what I have for my background. So I can select my move to back. So this is what we have for the background. We are not done yet. We are going to add some textures to it. So the texture we're going to add to it, we call it half tone. So we are going to use a very quick and easy way to add half tones to your design. So what you're going to do is, from your layers panel, come to the bottom. You are going to see this sheet over there that we use to create a new layer. Otherwise, if you want to create a new layer, you come to your menu bar. You are going to see layer. You can see new, and then you see layer. So when you hover over the new, you see layer. So you add a new layer and then click OK. So you have a new layer. That is step 1. Now step 2, you go to your brush, select the brush now, and then you come to Windows. When you come to Windows, you see brush. When you click on Windows from the list, you are going to see brushes. So the brushes you are going to choose, you come to, from the brushes you are going to have menus. You are going to have groups of brushes. So you open the brush called special effects brush, that group. Open the group called special effects brushes. When you open it, you are going to see Carl's screen tones 38. Carl's screen tones 38. Click on it and you come back to your design. Now right click on your design and set your size to the extreme. Okay, set the size to the what? Extreme. So the size, the extreme is about 5000 pixels. So enter, and then you click anywhere in your design. Oh, there's a mistake. So before you click on anywhere in the design, make sure you set the color of the brush. I didn't want to use black, so that's why I wanted to come back. So I click Ctrl Z to undo my action. So if I want to set the color of the brush, I just come to the bottom of the tools panel, and then you see these two directional arrows here. You can switch. So it switched the background color to the foreground, and then the foreground to the background. So the white will come top and then the black will come down. So all I wanted was, I want to bring the white to the top, the white square to the top, and then click anywhere in my design. I'm going to have this, and then I'll select my move tool. After selecting my move tool, you see this thing, it is not making me see my background very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the opacity. So now if I want to reduce my opacity to about 50%, what do? I'm going to click the number 5. If I want to reduce it to 20%, what do? I click on the number 2. If I want to reduce it to 10%, what do? I click on the number 1. So I leave it there. I want to leave my opacity at what? 10. Now there's another thing called fill, which is below the what? The opacity. Now with the fill, it also acts like opacity. It also acts like opacity, but at this stage I want it to go down, but I don't want it to vanish at all. So what I'm going to do is I'll come to my fill here, and then I'll take it to maybe 50%. You see, it is there, the thing is there, but it has reduced the weight of the intensity of the colors and then the effects it has. Just that, to get this particular feel I want. So our background is done. This is going to be our background. We can now group our background images. So you can select everything here. So you select the first layer, which is the halftone we just did, and then the last layer, and then to group all of them, click Ctrl plus G, Ctrl plus G, Ctrl plus G. So Ctrl plus G will group all of them, and then at the top of this layer panel you see lock. So you see this padlock here, click on this padlock. It locks that layer, that you cannot do anything. If you move it, it will move. That is it. So now we are continuing with our design. So now what we are going to do first is we are going to deal with the head of the particular design. So the head of this design is going to be contemplation. So you click on the type tool here, and then you click anywhere in your design, and then the font I'm using here is called Montserrat. I'm not using Franklin Gothic or Comic Sans. I'm using Montserrat. That's the name of the font, Montserrat. So try to find out on Google, search it on Google, you'll get it. You get it for free. You search it on Google, you'll get it. So Montserrat. And then I'm going to type contemplation here. So after typing contemplation, I accept changes. Now I'm going to set my font style to extra bold, and I click on my move tool. Now I want to verify. What verifies that I've selected this text and not the background. So what I normally do is you come to your options bar, which is below the menu bar. You click on show transform controls. You're going to see show transform controls. Click on it, and it's going to show this bounding box around it, and then you can click and drag the edges to even what? Resize it. So I'm going to set the whole font size to 30, and I'm going to set this guy here to about 24. Good. So I have this over here. So we are going to type the year of this particular edition. So it's like they've been doing this over and over again, and this year they are doing it again. So we are going to say Contemplation 2023. So we are going to type 2023 over here. So we click on our type tool, and then we come and click here and type 20, enter 23. You see how I am breaking them. I make sure that the top and then the bottom have equal width. So I don't want the top to be longer than the bottom. You shouldn't create a design where the top, you shouldn't break text where the top is more than the bottom. Okay, it is only when it is passage, like a paragraph, that is okay, it's fine. But for breaking it into two, make sure, or three, make sure that they are all having the same width. Okay, so with my move tool selected, I can click and drag the edges like that. I can choose to stop here, or so what I want to do is I want to change the font face. So the font face I'm going to use is Bebas New or Bebas New, Bebas and then New, Neue, Bebas, Neue, bold. That's what I'm going to use, and then I'm going to increase the size a little. So we increase the size a little bit like that, and we accept our changes. So we have this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to type some information they added for us to add. So we have this. They said what? A special moment of gratefulness to the Lord in praise and worship. So we are going to copy that, and then we come here. Now when I click on my type tool and I change my font to Montserrat, medium, I can click and drag. Like you see these parts, I want to maintain this alignment, so I can start from there and then I'll finish here, because I want to type directly under it. So remember something, remember that in design we have design principle called alignment. So make sure that what you are doing is very well aligned. Do not just put things arbitrarily on your design. So with this, I'm going to paste what I copied, a special moment of gratefulness to the Lord in praise and worship. Select everything and let's take the font size to about 5. I think this is okay. Let's accept this. Now we can select the Contemplation the 2023 and then these layers. So we select all of them by holding Ctrl and selecting on all of them on the list, and we can position them again like this. We can reposition them here. Okay, so we can reposition them, but here's the thing, I want this 2023 to be in line with this. They are not in line. When it comes to the bottom, I want them to be in line. So I'll drag this bottom here. I'll click and drag the edge here to increase the size so that they match a little bit. And another thing is white space is good, but there are certain places negative space is no good. White space and negative space are the same thing, sorry. So you see that there's this space over here. I don't like that space. I really don't like this space. So what I do is, you come to your what, character. Now you cannot find character here, so you go to Windows, you see character. So we have this character. Now you go and you see paragraph beside the character over here, and then with the paragraph you see this. You see this right alignment, left alignment here. It's called justify last left. Click on that one. It makes sure that this letters, this words or this characters touches the edges of the type area. Okay, and then when it happens that way, you realize that there's still space here. So what we do is, we can occupy that space with just a rectangle. So we draw some small rectangle over here, good. We have this. So when you realize that this thing has shifted down a little bit, so we move it a little bit. So make sure alignment is very important in your design. Make sure design is not about putting stuff on the canvas, but spending time to correct everything to match the design principles. That is what we call design. If it's talking about adding elements to your canvas, then everybody can be a designer. But sitting down, taking your time to make sure that all these things agrees with the design element is what we call what? Designing. So first of all, we are going to change the contemplation. We want it to what? Catch eye first. So we are going to use this design principle called emphasis. So we are going to add more emphasis to this by changing the color. So the color we are going to use here is a gradient. Now a gradient is just a combination of two colors, just that one will fade into the other. So maybe green and then blue. Wait, let's just do it together. So when I click on the contemplation over here, when I come to the bottom of my layers, I'll see FX. So when I see FX, I click on FX, you see from the layers gradient overlay, and then you click on gradient overlay. Now it's blue. I want to change it to maybe something more like gold or what. Yeah, so I have this here. So when you come here, let me show you how you change it. When you click here and you don't have this, what you can do is, you see this bar over here, the color at the bottom here, you see this small square at the bottom here, you click on it, and then you come and see color over here. Click on the color, and then you can change the color to orange. Okay, and then click OK. Now you come to your far right, so you see this small box at the bottom here. Click, and then you see the color below here changes to that color, and then you click on the color here and change it to that particular color you want, and click OK. So now you see that even though you are not done, but everything is looking nice already. Great. So let's continue. We are going to add the date, the time, and the venue of the program. So to add the date, we pick our type 2, come and add. So it's going to be 22, and okay. So we can increase the size over here, and then said okay, we accept it, and then we can duplicate this particular layer. How? So when you come to the list of the list here that Photoshop is keeping, that is the layers, right click on the name of the layer you want to duplicate, right click, and you see duplicate from the layers, from the list here, drop down list of actions, duplicate, and then you see okay, and then you move it. It's just overlapping on the original, so you move it here. So double click on it, and then we type October. So when you type October, we accept changes. Now we want to reduce the size, so we click and drag the edge of this thing here, and then move it up. We'll duplicate these two again, So right click on the name, right click on the name, you see duplicate layer. Okay, so now we just move it down and type 2023. So that's it. So then I want to reduce the weight of the October and the 2023, sorry. So to reduce the weight, I can move change the font style from extra bold to normal bold, or I can move it further to semi bold. Okay, so I would like to maintain the bold here and then accept changes. So now I have my date ready. Now it is left with the time. So with the time, what we are going to do is we are going to draw a rectangle here. We are going to draw a rectangle over here. So we take our type 2 and then we click outside the rectangle. So we type in maybe it's 1500 hours. Yeah, so let's leave it like that. And we click on this rectangle. We cannot put the white on the white, so let's change the color of this rectangle. Let's make it also a gradient, right? But before we change these gradients, let's change the gradients of the 22. So we go to FX again and choose gradient overlay. It uses the previous gradient we used to color this, and then we accept OK. So now we come to this particular rectangle, we click on FX, click on gradient. Now let me help you. So this is what I was talking about. So you want to change it to like a green gradient. So you pick the color of the color. See this color here, the bottom over here, this small square. Click on it, click on the color, choose the color you want. So let's assume I have green here. I choose green, and then I come to this guy. I click here. I'd like to choose something closer to that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so after selecting those colors, I'll hit OK. So now with the rectangle, when it comes to the properties of the rectangle, I'm going to say these 4 things here. You have 0, 0, 0. So what you can do is, it is used to round the edges, the corners of the rectangle or any other shape you are using. So to round the corners, you come to this and then you make sure that you click on this thing here, this anchor link here, and then you come and change this side to, let's say, 20. So you realize that this particular corner has been rounded up. Now we can put our 1500 inside. Drag the edge to increase the size. Make sure you leave a lot of space around it, and make sure the text is within the middle of the shape to get this particular effect or this result. Now if I want to duplicate this particular text here so that I can use that one to type the venue. So what I can do is I can click on Ctrl+J to duplicate. So Ctrl+J, it has duplicated, and I can use my arrow keys on my keyboard to be moving them. You see, I'm using the arrow keys to move them. But then you see, realize that it's going very slow. I want it to move faster. So I hold Shift. When you hold Shift and you move, it moves faster. Realize that it's moving faster than initial ones. So we move faster with this. Now I can, so I'll double click on this and paste my location over here. So I'm going to paste that. and increase the height over here, and then the font. So like I said, you keep adjusting until you realize that it fits what you want. Okay, so hit OK. Now let's learn this. So we are going to group everything here, and then we are going to group them into three things. It is date, time, and venue. So with the time, we have the 1500 and the rectangle below. So to click on the 1500, hold Control and click on rectangle, hold. So after selecting the two, click on Control plus J to group them, and then with the date too, you can select, click on 22, click on October, click on 2023, and you click Control plus J to group them. And with the venue, this is the venue over here. Without, it's just one type, so we can maintain it. So we have this, we have this, we have that. So we need to name them, name your layers. So with the time, we can double click on the name of the group and change the name to time. So the same thing for the second one, change the date to date, and then select the three, the time, the date, and the venue. And then we are going to do this. We are going to the top here, the options menu over here, the options bar here. You realize that you've got this symbols here. So we are going to click on the last one, which is distribute horizontally. We want the spaces in between to be equal. So we click on that, so it adjusts on its own. And then we can group all of them again, group all of them, and then change the name to, maybe, is it basic info? Learn to name your layer so that the next time you come and edit, it will be easier for you. So now with the basic info, we can click on Control plus A to select everything on the canvas, and then you come to this, the options bar over here, and you will see from these icons we have align left edges, align horizontal centers. So when you click on align horizontal centers, it puts your artwork in the center. So when I click on it, it pushes it to the center of my design. That is what I was looking for. And when I'm done, I'll click Ctrl D to deselect. Now we are not done yet. We are going to add this line, some lines around this to separate it from the heading. So we learned something called proximity. We need to make sure that like things are grouped together. So this is how we are going to differentiate between the basic info and then the main head. So we are going to our shapes panel, right click, you see line 2, click on the line 2. When you come to the options bar, which is below the menu bar, you see weight over here, weight over here, weight. So change the weight to 2. Now where you want to start your line, click, hold and drag. But realize that it is not straight, so what we do is hold shift to make it straight. So you get this and you release. We have that. Now you can duplicate that line by clicking on Ctrl plus J to duplicate, and then holding shift, use your arrow keys to move it down. Holding shift, you can use your arrow keys to move it down like that. So now you can move these two shapes or these two lines into your basic info group. We have that. And now you can see that it is well separated from what the heading, but it feels like the heading is not what well centered. So what we can do is we come and group the heading A also. So you click on contemplation 2023, the theme or the special moment, whatever, and then a rectangle, and then hit Ctrl plus J to group it. Get it? Then we can double click on the name and name it title or head. You can name it head. Okay, So now if I want to put it in the center, let's take the procedure again. Click on Ctrl+A, and then you come to your options bar, which is below the menu bar. You are going to see distribute, align horizontal centers, align horizontal centers. Click on that, it will center that for you. And you, after that, you click on Ctrl D to deselect. Now we come to the bottom, you want to type in for more info in case someone wants to do this, call for more information. You put this small white rectangle below here, click on our move to. I think this is okay, so we are going there to add this for more info over there. So to add the for more info, we take this type 2 and click, and I'm going to paste this here. So now you are not seeing it because it's white and then the background is white. You see, when it comes to the properties, you are going to see the color of the text. So you change the color of the text to black. So black, like I said, is 000000. You realize that it's also black already. And you are going to change the font style to something around medium or semi-bold, and then you are going to adjust this. So like I said, designing is not just about putting the stuff on it. Just make sure that you adjust everything to make sure that it's what fits design principles. And we have that, so we can click on our move to move this into the center of our design. So we have that. So the last two things is the logo and inviting your friends. So we are going to pick our logo from our files here. So click and drag the logo here. So this is the church logo. Yeah, I created it on my own. It's not realistic here. It's because of the tutorials I created this. So church logo, you put it there, and then you right click on the shapes, on the ellipse, and then we are going to draw another ellipse. Sorry. We are going to draw an ellipse to, a circle. Ellipse 2 is circle, I mean. So while you are drawing, you realize that my circle is not regular. So what to do to make it regular is hold shift. When I hold shift, it becomes regular circle. And then when I get to the size I want, I release it. I just want to create this outline around the logo. So when you come to the properties side, you are going to see the color of the circle, and then beside it you are going to see this stroke like we have discussed earlier. So the color of the circle, click on it, you see this white with red stroke with red across it. Click on it, it means no fill color. Do not fill it with any color. And then beside the fill color, we have the stroke. You can select white and then change the size over here from 1 pixel to 2 pixels, and then we have that. So this is where we've got into. It's left with the last part. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, we've gotten this, and the next step here is to add free entry, invite friends and family. So I'm going to add invite friends and family. You click on our type 2, you click here. For this, you are not going to see it properly because the color is not white, so we can drag it here to the white, and then we paste our text here. So free entry, invite friends and family, like that. And we set the size to 6 and then the spacing to 6, and then I think that is fine. And then click on your move to. So now we are going to learn something new again. So you click Ctrl+T to transform, And when you right click on the layer, you see this. You are going to see this list: free transform, scale, rotate, skew. So scale is used to resize, rotate is used to rotate. The skew is what you're going to learn. So just click on the skew, and when you come to the edges of this layer, this bounding box, realize that the icon changes and it gets this 2 directional arrow below it. So we are going to, when it changes, so when the pointer changes to that pointer with the 2 directional arrows, you click and hold and drag it to the top. You realize that the direction is changing. We get this direction. So we don't shift it too much. If you shift it too much, it loses its readability. You get it? So you shift it up like this a little bit, and then you get this effect. You can reduce it over here, and we can leave it here. We can leave it here, somewhere here, and we have our design complete and nice. If you have any question, you can leave it in the chat section or the comment section, and please do remember to subscribe to the channel, and please again, remember to like this video. Thank you.